Krishna has that same power, that it can even create and destroy universes. So what mercy is upon us that we're allowed to chant these holy names. Then, what is the goal? The goal is then to chant purely, to experience that Krishna and his name are non-different. Krishna's name includes Krishna's pastimes, his qualities, his associates, his form, his flute playing. So then, a major process for realizing the goal, the process goes to the goal, is while chanting to remember those qualities and pastimes of the Lord. If we simply sing the names, then the nature of this age and the nature of our unsteady mind, which, if I think most of you are familiar with Bhagavad Gita, which is spoken by Krishna himself, who says to Arjuna, when Arjuna is complaining, that Krishna, you're telling me to control my mind and meditate, but here I am on the battlefield. It seems like to control the mind is more difficult than to control the raging wind. Like if some cyclone is coming and you go like this to try to stop it, we can't stop it. So Krishna says, yes, the mind is indeed agitated and uncontrolled, but it's possible by constant practice and detachment. So what is that practice? If we simply try to hear, then and not think of the form and pastimes and prayers to the Lord, then because the mind searches always for form, it searches always for activity. It will go to, oh, I remember 20 years ago when or how dare that person say that to me, I must find some way to take revenge, and Ram Ram Hari Hari. Or I don't have enough money, I need money, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Even if we want to simply think of the chant that we're uttering, it will go to material things if it's not going to spiritual things. So our scriptures and our gurus who've manifested their translations of the ancient Vedic scriptures, and our previous acharyas or previous teachers who manifested the scriptures by their trance of samadhi, they've given us so many very beautiful verses, and those verses include pastimes to remember, and many, many prayers to call out while we're chanting, which immediately point us at the goal. So I'd like to share some of those with you this evening. Particularly, I'm going to share one book by our previous acharya named Srila Sanatana Goswami, who lived 500 years ago. And he was a big government minister, just right under the king. But when he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, he immediately gave up his big position and he became a mendicant. He went to meet Lord Chaitanya and heard so much beautiful philosophy of who am I, what am I doing in this world, why am I suffering, how to be free, how to reach the goal of life, which is love of God. And then he wrote many, many books under the Lord's order and direction. And one of them is called Brihat Bhagavatamrita, which is about the pastimes of the Lord and his devotees, and the gradual development of who's the greater devotee, who's greater than that, and who's the devotees who are the recipients of the greatest mercy of the Lord. So at the end of that book, Srila Sanatana Goswami wrote a chapter called Bhakti Rasayan. Rasayan means nectar tonic. That is, if somebody is very, very ill and he takes the right nectar tonic, because I know there are healers here, then he can be brought back to life. So now we're all practically dead in the material existence, identifying with this dead body. I am this body made of earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. I am this body, and everything in relation to this body is mine. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that's described as being ghostly haunted by the ghost or the witch of Maya. Maya is Krishna's power of delusion, which forces us to take repeated birth by identifying with the body and its demands, and it's exploiting others in different ways. So Prabhupada was imitating, in fact he did this in a class in Boston, he was imitating a person who's haunted by the ghost or witch of Maya. And he said, they think, I am this body, and everything in relation to this body is mine. So how to be free from that is by taking shelter of the Lord. Simply by hearing Harikatha, the narrations of the Lord, reading narrations of the Lord, remembering them, sharing them with others. It sounds very simple, but it's the process, and along with chanting the holy name, it's the process for actually becoming free from the cycle of birth, old age, disease, and death. So in this Bhakti Rasayan, there's a whole chapter of very beautiful verses glorifying the Lord's pastimes. Like, for example, one verse, there are many verses that Sanatana Goswami took from the Srimad Bhagavatam and made it into a very beautiful necklace of verses that sincere devotees wear while they are chanting the holy names. So many of the verses are from the chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam called Venu Geet, where the gopis, who are the beloveds of the Lord, beloved cowherd maidens, who were engaged in an amorous relationship with Krishna, which is understood. It's understood that there are 5 kinds of relationships that one can have with God. One is called Shantaras, or a relationship of just like accepting that Krishna is God, that God is a person, he's not impersonal, understanding that the impersonal feature that many people are taught to meditate on, and with the imagination that the goal of life is to merge and become one with that impersonal God. Actually, that impersonalism is just a feature of Krishna, and that is, it's the effulgence of his brilliant toenails, or sometimes it's described as the effulgence of his beautiful face. And that's why when you see pictures of Krishna, you see this light around his face. So, understanding that the Lord is a person, just like I'm a person, means that my father is a person. Like Kumudini's parents, she's a person. And if we go back, her parents are people, persons. Their parents are people. If you go all the way back, the original father of all and mother of all are persons. So Shantaras is that understanding, but there's no direct relationship of service. And then higher than that, more intimate than that, is called Dasya Ras, and that is the relationship of servitor of the Lord. There's servitor in opulence, where you can worship the Lord as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the spiritual planets called Vaikunthas. And there we always think, he's so great and I'm so low, which is a platform of ecstasy, but very minimal compared to the ultimate planet of Krishna, called Goloka Vrindavan, where the servants of Krishna are not really servants of Krishna, they're servants of Krishna's father, and they have a relationship of Krishna where they sit him on their lap, and they kiss his head and smell his head to see if he's okay, and embrace him. In this highest planet, Goloka Vrindavan, which is actually the ultimate goal of yoga and meditation. Yoga, the word yoga, Srila Gurudev explains, especially when he's in China, where yoga is so popular.